Namo Buddhaya Snehaji, Namo Buddhaya Deepji, and Namo Buddhaya, whoever is joining from the live stream. Thank you so much for joining. We start the session, and this session, on an experimental basis, I am uh, a bit modifying it. I'm making it as a guided session and guided meditation. And if you are already practicing some form of meditation and you don't need the instructions, so uh, you can mute the speakers at your end, right? So this is basically a guided meditation, the Anapansati, which is a very good meditation for beginners. So what I understand is meditation for beginners, Vipassana may be a bit difficult. So Anapansati is purely breath awareness, right? So we will start, we'll meditate till 7:15, and you can close your eyes and keep the spine straight. And gently bring your awareness to your breathing. You can bring your attention to the belly and just bring the awareness that as you take the breath in, the belly rises. As you take the breath out, the belly falls, rising and falling. Just note this awareness of the rising and falling of the breath. Or you can bring awareness to the area around the nose, where you can feel the breath coming in and out. Or you can just be aware that right now I'm breathing in and right now I'm breathing out. Full awareness of the breathing. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Complete awareness of this in and out breathing. Do not change the pattern of the breathing. Just note the breathing as it is. If it's a long breath, just note it as a long breath. If it's a short breath, note it as a short breath. In, out. Total awareness on the in and the out breaths. All our attention on our breathing. If the sounds distract us, or in any way thoughts distract us, come back to the awareness of the breathing and keep focusing, keep being aware of the in and out breathing. Be like a watchman or a watchwoman of your breath, of your body. As a watchman ensures that no one comes inside or goes outside without his observation, we can be a watchman or a watchwoman of our body. Have this determination that I will not let a single breath come inside my body or go outside of my body without my conscious observation. Any difficult feelings arise, or any sensations arise, as soon as you get the awareness that I should be focused on my breathing, come back gently to the breathing and start focusing your attention on the in and out of the breathing. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. In breath, out breath. Keep noting the breathing. If at any time the mind gets lost in thoughts, as soon as the awareness comes, return back to your breathing. This breathing is your home base. It's your safe place. You can come to this breathing anytime you feel anxious. Keep your awareness on the breath, in breath, out breath. Total awareness, total determination. Full awareness. Do not try to change the pattern of the breathing. Just observe it as it is. Any discomfort in the body that arises, or any difficult feelings or thoughts or past memories that arise, just let them be. Bring your awareness back to your breathing. Do not go in guilt or self pity. We are doing our best. Not a single breath will escape my observation. Sit with this determination. And as you're focusing on your breath, you may note your mind getting concentrated. And as the mind is getting concentrated, you may get a feeling of calm and peace. If the mind gets lost, bring it back to the breathing. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. In breath, out breath. Keep breathing and keep your awareness on your breathing. Not a single breath should escape your observation. Be like a watchman or a watchwoman of your body. Total awareness. Any difficulties arising in the body or in the mind, gently come back to your breathing. Gently come back to your breathing and start focusing on the in breath and the out breath. Knowing this breath as the in breath, knowing this breath as the out breath. In, out. Total attention. No matter how easy or difficult it is, maintain total attention on the breathing. Keep yourself on the breathing. Keep noting the in and out. Keep noting the in and out of the breathing. And now we will close the meditation. We may take this opportunity to share whatever merit that we've earned from this meditation to all the beings who are suffering. May they get free from suffering. May they find peace. And whenever you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes. So I hope Deepji, Snehaji, maybe this meditation was useful. This is mindfulness of breathing, Anapansati, and it's very, very powerful, this meditation. And I hope my instructions were clear. They were, the voice was not very low. And now we will start the book reading from where we left. And the book reading that I'm doing is, this is the book, Old Path, White Clouds by Thich Nhat Hanh. Thank you, Sandeepji, for confirmation. Okay. So this is the book, Old Path, White Clouds. Sorry, just a second. Okay. Okay, fine. Um, we are reading the chapter 46, Handful of Simsapa Leaves. So this is the background here is that there is this conflict that is happening between monks, and let's see what happens. So there was this two set of monks who were having a conflict, and the word reached to the Buddha, and then uh, all the bhikkhus were taking sides of one or the other monk. So we continue, page 301. Though the Buddha was residing not far from the monastery, he was unaware of the conflict until a delegation of concerned bhikkhus visited him, told him of it, and asked him to intervene. The Buddha went to meet directly with the precept master and told him, "We should not become too attached to our own viewpoint. We should listen carefully in order to understand the other's viewpoint. We should seek all means to prevent the community from breaking." Then he went to the sutra master and said the same thing. Returning to his hut, he was hopeful the two men would reconcile. But the Buddha's intervention did not have the desired effect. Too many ill words had already been spoken. Many wounds had been inflicted. So through words, how through our words we inflict wounds. Bhikkhus who remained impartial did not possess enough influence to bring the two sides together. The conflict reached the ears of the lay disciples, and before long, even other religious sects had heard of the trouble in the Buddha's Sangha. So at that time, there was these the Jain ascetics also that were there. So somewhere or the other, there was some competition always happening between whose doctrine is right and all those things that were happening. So the other sects also kind of they got a thing about that this is wrong thing is happening in Buddha's Sangha. It was a serious blow to the integrity of the Sangha. Nagita, the Buddha's attendant, was unable to endure the situation anymore. He discussed the matter again with the Buddha, beseeching him to intervene once more. The Buddha put on his outer robe and went at once to the monastery's meeting hall. Nagita rang the bell to summon the community. When all were present, the Buddha said, "Please cease your arguing. It is only creating division in the community. Please return to your practice. If we truly follow our practice, we will not become victims of pride and anger." One bhikkhu stood up and said, "Master, please don't involve yourself in this matter. Return and dwell peacefully in your meditation. This matter does not concern you. We are adults and capable of resolving this on our own." Dead silence followed the bhikkhu's words. The Buddha stood up and left the meeting hall. He returned to his hut, picked up his bowl, and walked down into Kosambi to beg. When he was finished begging, he entered the forest to eat alone. When he stood up and walked out of Kosambi, he headed for the river. He did not tell anyone of his departure, not even his attendant Nagita or Venerable Ananda. The Buddha walked until he reached the town of Balakalona Karamaka. Then he met his disciple, the Venerable Bhagu. Bhagu invited him into the forest where he dwelled alone. He offered the Buddha a towel and wash basin to wash his face and hands. The Buddha asked Bhagu how his practice was going. Bhagu replied that he found great ease and joy in the practice, even though he was presently dwelling all alone. The Buddha remarked, "Sometimes it is more pleasant to live alone than with many people." Great realization. And this is someone uh, of a level of Buddha who is saying, right? Because in even in his Sangha, being fully enlightened, but in presence of all the bhikkhus who are fighting and creating all kinds of ruckus, Buddha said this. Sometimes it is more pleasant to live alone. And that is actually, there's this thing that it is easiest to practice in a monastery, less easier to practice in the world, and the most difficult is practicing in your own home, right? When you have parents and children and everything, that's the true test of your practice. After bidding Bhagu farewell, the Buddha headed for eastern bamboo forest, which was not far away. As he was about to enter the forest, the groundskeeper stopped him and said, so this is the Anuruddha story. I have already made a video on this thing, interaction with Anuruddha. So I am now kind of, it's like connecting the dots from this book to the Pali discourses. The groundskeeper stopped him and said, "Monk, don't go in there, or you may disturb the monks already practicing in there." Before the Buddha could think of a response, Venerable Anuruddha appeared. He happily greeted the Buddha and said to the groundskeeper, "This is my own teacher. Please allow him to enter." Anuruddha led the bhikkhus into the forest where he lived with two other bhikkhus, Nandiya and Kimbila. They were very happy to see the Buddha. Nandiya took the Buddha's bowl and Kimbila took the outer robe. They cleared a place for him to sit by the thicket of gold bamboo. They brought a towel and wash basin. The three bhikkhus joined their palms and bowed to the Buddha. The Buddha asked them to be seated and he said, "Are you content here? How is your practice going? Do you encounter any difficulties in begging or sharing the teaching in this region?" Anuruddha answered, "Lord, we are very content here. It is calm and peaceful. We receive ample food offerings and are able to share the Dhamma. We are all making progress in our practice." Buddha asked, "Do you live in harmony with one another?" Anuruddha said, "Lord, we care deeply for each other. We live in harmony, like milk and honey. I consider living with Nandiya and Kimbila a great blessing. I treasure their friendship. Before I say or do anything, this sutta actually is so important for the monastics that actually this sutta is basically on the harmony of spiritual sangha. And it's like said that all the monastics are required to read this sutta once a day or even many times a day. So I treasure their friendship. Before I say or do anything, whether they are present or not, I stop and ask myself what their reaction would be. We sometimes do this kind of an idle gossip when some behind someone's back, not knowing that if that person would know it, what kind of impression he will get. But we do this idle chatter, idle gossip. These are all habitual tendencies we have. Would my words or actions disappoint my brothers in any way? If I feel any doubts, I refrain from words or actions intended. Lord, although we are three persons, we are also one. The Buddha nodded his approval. He looked at the other two bhikkhus. Kimila said, "Anuruddha speaks the truth. We live in harmony and care deeply for each other." Nandiya added, "We share all things from our food to our insight and experience." The Buddha praised them. We share all things, not only the food. So what happened was that generally whatever alms they receive, they generally divide, right? So someone didn't receive, so they used to divide it. They make three portions of anything what they receive. But they also share their insights and experiences. That's very, very important, no? Because everyone has some other insights. So everyone contributes those insights also. The Buddha praised them. Excellent. I'm most pleased to see how you live in harmony. A Sangha is only a true Sangha when such harmony exists. You have experienced real awakening, and that is why you have realized such harmony. The Buddha spent 1 month with the three bhikkhus. He observed how they went from begging every morning after meditation. Whichever bhikkhu returned first from begging always prepared the place for others to sit, gathered water for washing, and set out an empty bowl. So this was like the gold standard for the other bhikkhus in the sangha, uh, in the monastic code to follow. Before he ate anything himself, he would place some of his food into the empty bowl in case one of his brothers had not received any food. After they all had finished eating, they placed any leftover food on the ground or in the stream, careful not to harm any creatures that lived there. Then they washed their bowls together. Whoever saw that the toilet needed scrubbing did it at once. They joined together to do any tasks that required more than one person. They sat down regularly to share insights and experiences. Before the Buddha left the three bhikkhus, he spoke to them. Bhikkhus, the very nature of a sangha is harmony. I believe harmony can be realized by following these principles. One, sharing a common space such as forest or home, or sharing an online space now that we are online, right? A lot of things have moved online. Sharing the essentials of daily life together, observing the precepts together, using only words that contribute to harmony, avoiding all the words that cause the community to break, sharing insights and understanding together, respecting others' viewpoints and not forcing another to follow your own viewpoint. A Sangha that follows these principles will have happiness and harmony. Bhikkhus, let us always observe these six principles. The bhikkhus were happy to receive this teaching from the Buddha. The Buddha bid them farewell and walked until he reached the Rakhitta forest near Pariliyaka. After sitting in meditation beneath a lush sal tree, he decided to spend the approaching rainy season alone in the forest. That was chapter 46, on the harmony between in the Sangha. We continue to chapter 47. Chapter 47 is following the Dhamma. Beneath the salt tree, the Buddha enjoyed ease, peace, and joy. It was a lovely forest of green hills, clear springs, and lake. The Buddha enjoyed the solitude. He thought of the bhikkhus in Kosambi living in conflict. So he is thinking back of those bhikkhus who are there living in conflict. Even the lay disciples had been disturbed. He felt sad that the bhikkhus were unwilling to listen to his guidance. But he understood that their minds were clouded by anger. The Buddha encountered many animals in the Rakhitta forest, including a family of elephants. The eldest female, the matriarch queen, often led the younger elephants to the lake to bathe. She taught them how to drink the cool water and eat water lilies. The Buddha watched how she grasped a bunch of lilies with her trunk and rinsed them in the water in order to shake off any mud still clinging to them. The little elephants imitated her. The elephants grew fond of Buddha and became his friends. Sometimes the queen picked fruit and offered it to the Buddha. The Buddha liked to pat the head of the elephant calves, and he often walked with them down to the lake. He liked to listen to the queen's majestic call. It sounded like a great trumpet. He practiced until he could imitate her call perfectly. Once, when the queen called out, he also gave a great trumpeting call. She gazed at him and then came and knelt before him as if to bow. The Buddha gently stroked her head. So, this is the image actually. This is a beautiful image. Many such images are there. Buddha with the elephants. It was the 10th retreat season since the Buddha enlightenment, but only the second one he had spent alone. He stayed in that cool forest the entire retreat season, leaving only briefly in the mornings to beg. When the rainy season came to an end, the Buddha departed from his elephant friends and headed northeast. After 2 weeks of walking, he reached Jetavana monastery in Savatthi. Sariputta was most happy to see him, as was Rahula. Several senior disciples were also there, including Mahamoglana, Mahakasapa, Mahakara, Upali, Mahakuthya, Mahakapina, Mahakunda, Revata, and Devadatta. Anuruddha, Kimbila, and Nandiya had also traveled to Jetavana. So all the three monks who Buddha went to see, they had also reached Jetavana. Even Bhikkhuni Gautami was in Savatthi. Everyone rejoiced to see the Buddha. When he entered his hut at Jetavana, the Buddha found Ananda tidying up and sweeping the floor. So Ananda was Buddha's attendant, the chief disciple, and his cousin. A year, a year and 4 months has passed since the Buddha had last been there. Ananda put down his broom and board. The Buddha asked him about the situation in Kosambi, and Ananda replied, "After your departure, a number of brothers came to me and said, 'Brother, the master has left. He is all alone. Why don't you follow him and act as his assistant? If you won't go, we will go ourselves.' But I told them, if the Buddha has departed without telling anyone, it is because he wants to be alone. We should not bother him." 6 months later, the same brothers came to me and said, Brothers, brother, it has been a long time since we received any direct teaching from the Buddha. We want to search for him. This time I agreed and we set out looking for you, but without success. No one knew where you were. At last, we made our way to Savatthi, but you were not here either. We decided to wait here, knowing that eventually you would come. We were confident you would not abandon your disciples. When you left Kosambi, what was the situation like? Were the bhikkhus still divided? Lord, the conflict became even worse. Neither side would have anything to do with the other. The atmosphere was tense and uncomfortable. Lay disciples expressed their dismay to the rest of us when we went begging to the city. We explained that many of us refused to take sides. Little by little, the lay disciples decided to take matters more into their hands. They came to the monastery and spoke to the bhikkhus involved in the conflict. They said things like, "You make the Buddha so sad, he left. You bear a grave responsibility. You have caused many lay disciples to lose trust in the sangha. Please reconsider your actions. At first, the bhikkhus involved in the conflict did not pay attention to the lay disciples, but then the lay disciples decided not to offer food to any bhikkhu involved in the conflict. They said, "You are not worthy of the Buddha because you are unable to live in harmony. If you listen to the Buddha's teaching, you would reconcile with one another and go find the Buddha and make a confession. Only by doing so can you regain our trust." Lord, the lay disciples, Lord, the lay disciples stood their ground. The day I left Kosambi, the two sides had agreed to meet together. I am sure that before long they will come here to make a formal confession. The Buddha picked up the broom which Ananda had set down. "Let me do that. Please find Sariputta and tell him I would like to speak with him." The Buddha leisurely swept the hut and then sat on one of his bamboo chairs outside. Jetavana was truly beautiful. The trees were covered with new leaves. Birds sang throughout the forest. Sariputta appeared and sat silently behind the Buddha for a long, peaceful moment. The Buddha told Sariputta what was on his mind. "We should do everything we can to prevent useless conflicts from arising in this beautiful monastery." They spoke on this matter for a very long time. One afternoon, soon after, Venerable Sariputta received news that the bhikkhus from Kosambi were on their way to the monastery, having already arrived in Savatthi. Sariputta went to the Buddha and asked him, "The brothers from Kosambi will soon arrive. How should we handle the situation?" Buddha replied, "Handle it according to the Dhamma." "Can you explain what you mean more clearly?" So Buddha said, Sariputta was himself a very, very senior bhikkhu, and he was taking charge of all the community all this while. So when Buddha said, "Handle it according to the Dhamma," and he said, but Sariputta said, "Can you explain what you mean?" So Buddha said, "You, Sariputta, can still ask such a question." Sariputta fell silent. Just then Muglana, Kasapa, Kakana, Kothaya, Kapina, and Anuruddha appeared. They too asked Kosambi, "How should we handle the arrival of the brothers from Kosambi?" They all looked at Sariputta, but he only smiled. The Buddha looked at his senior disciples and said, "Listen carefully to both sides without prejudice." So basically, this is something that we can also think over how to handle conflicts in our lives, right? Listen carefully to both sides without prejudice. Carefully consider evaluating everything you hear to determine which things are in accordance with the teaching and which things are not. Things in accordance with the teachings lead to peace, joy, and liberation. They are the things I myself practice, things I have cautioned against. And that is why it's very important for us to keep ourselves grounded in the teaching. And many a times we'll move away from the teaching, but we have to come back to the teaching again and again. So we'll close after this paragraph. Things in accordance with the teaching lead to peace, joy, and liberation. They are the things I myself practice. Things I have cautioned against and which I do not practice are not in accordance with the teaching. When you understand what things are in accordance with the teaching and what things are not, you will know how to help both sides find reconciliation. Okay, so we'll close it here and rest we'll leave for tomorrow. Okay, so I hope it had certain learnings for all of us. And now, if anyone wants to share anything from their practice or any questions or any sharing, please feel free to unmute or share in chat. I just missed a chat or something. Okay, thank you, Snehaji. Thank you, Snehaji. Okay, sorry, I missed your message, Snehaji. The earlier message that you wrote regarding the Anapanasati meditation. Yes, it is really, really, I also practice this a lot. And uh, Yes, yes. One thing, deep chi, and this book is really becoming deep. And whenever I use the word deep, I get reminded of your name, which is itself deep. And another, the actual meaning of your name is deep, which is what Buddha said, Appu Deepo Bhava. That means be your own lamp, right? So yeah, this book is getting deep by the day, and this is the beauty of this book. So when I started reading this book, for the first half, see, I am after knowledge, so the stories thing don't excite me very much, though this book was very good. But second half onwards, this book became very deep, and as we continue in the further chapters, more and more learnings will come. One more book I will recommend, and I will keep recommending something or the other. I know I'm pushing too much of stuff on you and Snehaji and everyone. Is a book, The Buddha Said by Osho. That is also beautiful book, and if you want to read it via audiobook, it's a in Audible you get it. There's a 3 month trial or a 2 month trial you get, and then you can finish it as an audiobook. The Buddha Said by Osho, you will love that. I mean, if you love Osho, because Osho is different, so that is again a book that you can check out. But I know there is this thing, too much of stuff, so we have to focus on doing our 10 pages or 20 pages target a day, right? So that I have like this 20 pages target and complete it every day. Otherwise, it's just all you collect a PDF and then put it in a folder, and then you don't get to read it anytime. Okay, Snehaji, coming to your question, how to convince others to be part of this movement? Uh, Movement means, what I understand is the spreading of the Buddha's teachings. I hope you mean that only, right? What? Yeah, Osho and Buddha, they may have some connection, because Osho said beautifully about Buddha. Buddha and his teachings, the way he has interpreted, and especially Deepji, now you asked about Zen, and the Osho has written a lot of books on Zen and Buddha's teachings. It's the beautifully he has kind of interpreted, kind of shared Buddha's teachings. And now the problem with Buddha's teachings is that people who are too much engrossed in a lot of concepts, for them it will be, there is this talk that you may listen, a Buddha will be misunderstood. It is in two parts, available for free on YouTube, which also Osho has said. And in that, Osho also says that I will also be kind of misunderstood, right? So, but yeah, so yeah, the book name is The Buddha Said. The Buddha Said by Osho. You can find it on Amazon also, but this book is also available on Audible, and you can get that free trial, and you can finish it within a month. Beautiful book, and yeah. Yes, Snehaji, coming back to this thing, that how to spread the movement. Just uh, what I feel is just uh, like what I am doing is my little way, that making videos and doing these sessions, letting us all come together, right? Even if one person is there, I am fine with doing these sessions. And even if one person is also not there, I do these sessions. So just somewhere someone gets connected. So it's like that. Oh no, when you have this kind of a proof of concept of something, that something has worked for you, then you can pass it on to others, that yes, see, this has worked for me, this can work for you too. And for me, it's my suffering that I came up from, and the phase that I went to in the 2021, that difficult phase. So then it's my thing that this knowledge should reach out. And my only there has to be a reason. So my reason is that this knowledge that has been lost has to go out to people. So that why has to be very clearly there. Snehaji, thank you so much. I'm just making whatever little efforts I can meet. At least I will be kind of comfortable. I'll get a good night's sleep, that I have made in my efforts. And we have to just focus on following our path, and uh, and kind of be the kind of lamp, so that others can look up and see that how we are changing. Of course, there are a lot of improvements that we have to make, right? Yes, he's very happy to know. And yes. Yeah, yeah. So many controversies. See, if you say talk about Deepji controversies, then there are too many controversies about Buddha also, right? So somewhere it's, and I will just say one thing is that just listen. Whatever positive you can take, you take the positive, right? I would follow that approach. All the modern day religious teachers and everyone I know. So I'm not saying that anyone is like fully enlightened or something like that. There are a lot of controversies, and a lot of controversies were spread because what Osho was teaching, and maybe what Buddha taught at that time, was like, in Hindi it's like लोगों की दुनिया हिल रही थी, right? So people create a lot of stuff uh, about the that person, and so. But if you really, again, I'm talking about myself. Reading Osho for some time, the only thing is it you are not the same person as before, and but then it becomes difficult to live in the society, because the society. Do you realize that what kind of these all cultural and in the name of religion and nation and all these things, these kind of uh, foundations and restrictions and all sort of these things, we are conditioned from the our birth in all these ways. Some sort of rules definitely are required, but a lot of useless stuff is also there. So yeah, so I mean that's just a recommendation of the book. If you feel like reading it, it's a good book. Okay. What else? Anyone wants to share anything from their practice, from your practice? I will. Okay, I will share. Um, and see, a basic thing. I mean, just not something. Uh, I go on and on, but the thing is just I don't know how to put it in words. Is the suffering that I have in my life. It's a lot of things you cannot change, but just bringing mindfulness to this moment, this suffering, this moment, and the practice of vipassana that I started doing, it has become now easier and easier for me to bring this my mind, collect my mind in that moment. So it's all about collecting my mind in this moment and being mindful. It's like showering or uh, and lighting up that particular this moment with awareness, this moment which contains suffering, this moment which contains anger with awareness, only this moment, torch of awareness, right? Bringing, collecting my mind. This, our practice of meditation and the mindfulness, what we do, right? This helps us collect our mind, make it one pointed. Otherwise, it's like, okay, let us think about an analogy of, um it's like an enemy is all spread out, right? So what you try to ensure is that the enemy is all, you try to bring them together, and then you attack them. So if the enemy is all scattered, and if you try to fire the shots, you yourself can be shot, right? Because you, only you get them concentrated first. Sorry for the violent example I'm giving, but collect your mind to this moment, this suffering that you have, mindfulness. That is all I can do. I cannot do anything else. I think that I can do many things, but I cannot. My mind gives me a wrong impression that Abhinav, you can take care of this and that and all parts of your life. But slowly I'm getting this insight that it's only this one moment I can take care of. Only this one moment, right? So this is one sharing that uh, Sneha ji, that will be a long topic. I have actually made a video on this. I will share the link in the group uh, in which I have shared it. Right. So basically, it's I resonate with this uh, as this thing with the teaching. We do various reasons, but deep resonance. Yes, sure, sure, sure. Anyone wants to share anything or say anything or in your practice or how your life is going on and how you're implementing mindfulness. Then we will call it a day or call it an evening, right? We'll meet tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow. And thank you so much. Bye. Take care. Namo Buddhaya. Take care. Bye.